tonight on the Final Play.
Coming off the edge, the ball is popped up into the air, intercepted by Cam Jordan for the touchdown.
The Saints are back above 500 after an improbable roller coaster lands them their third straight double-digit win. But not everyone is pleased.
The game ended up being much closer than I think it needed to be based upon the way our defense was playing.
We've got more reaction from the team and from the man who called the marathon, Jim Henderson.
I dare say you saw things in this game that you've never seen before and probably will never see again to that magnitude.
Plus the comeback that came to fruition.
Come from behind, sacked at the 34-yard line. Tigers will win this football game.
We knew that we were going to win this game from Monday.
A wild day in Baton Rouge only highlighted an even wilder weekend of wins on the college and prep gridiron. Plus, a preview of the Pelicans as their season opener approaches.
From Fox 8 Sports, this is the Final Play. Sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealer. Built Ford tough. And Nissan.
Welcome into the Final Play. I'm Juan Kincaid, and we kind of figured that a bunch of points will be scored in the Dome today, but 90? Didn't see that coming. In fact, the way the game started, all Saints all the time, it had me flashing back to the days of the Super Bowl season when both sides of the ball were dominant. Sean Vazan gets to start tonight with a Saints team that's now over 500 for the first time in 4 years.
The Saints came into Sunday's contest with the Lions in search of their first winning record in the regular season since December 29, 2013. And at times, it looked like they were going to run away with victory. But later in the game, things got a little scary. But in the end, the Saints got what they came for, a 52-38 win. Now they're 3-2. And after 1,386 days, the curse of 500 is officially over.
You win 2 in a row and then you have a bye. But I thought it was important. We played well against this team. Or important for us to get a win.
And it really was a tale of two halves. The first belonged to the black and gold, where they simply could do no wrong. The big plays began on their first offensive drive when Alex Okafor sacked and stripped Matt Stafford. Kenny Vaccaro scooped the ball up in the end zone.
Like I told him, man, it was a sweet play. It was a great opportunity for both of us.
The offense's initial balanced approach paid dividends early. Their first touchdown came on a Drew Brees pass to Ted Ginn Jr. on a crossing route. Mark Ingram, who finished with 114 yards, provided the next 2. His second made the score 31-10. On that drive, Sean Payton dived deep into his bag of tricks with some crafty play calling. On 4th and 1, he called the fullback option, where Zach Line took the handoff and flipped it to Alvin Kamara, who easily got the first down.
My first emphasis when we got into that play was get the handoff. And when I looked over there, it was wide open. I just knew that the end was going to close, and I was going to pitch it to Kamara. And sky's the limit from there. You know what he can do.
They followed that up with a flea flicker to Brandon Coleman, which gained 20 yards. Third quarter began with more Saints mojo. They opened with a Brees touchdown to Michael Ho'omanawanui. Then first-round pick Marshawn Lattimore provided them their second defensive touchdown when he returned a Stafford tip pass for a score.
I seen him give him a signal, and I seen how they were lined up. I seen the number 2s on the ball and number 1 was off. So when I seen him give him the signal, I just knew right away that it was some type of run route or something like that. So I just tried to stay on this hip, and I think it got tipped or something. And I just made a play.
At that point, it was 45-10, and the route appeared to be on. But then things went radio silent. Their insurmountable 35-point lead slowly started to evaporate. Stafford hit 2 consecutive touchdown passes. Then Jamal Agnew took the Thomas Morstead punt back 74 yards for a touchdown.
Turning it upfield, and here he goes. Morstead can't catch him. It's a foot race that Agnew will probably win. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown.
And when A'Shawn Robinson picked off Brees' pass and returned it for a touchdown, the lead was down to 7. And anxiety set in the Superdome with over 6 minutes to play.
Turnovers, big plays in the passing game, your coverage units, those are generally things that are involved in a large comeback.
But that was as close as the comeback came. Just like the Saints' first points, their final points came courtesy of the defense when Cam Jordan tipped Stafford's pass and intercepted it in the end zone for a score.
Did I enjoy every minute of it? For sure. That being said, we've got a lot of stuff to clean up for this next week. Clearly, you know, we had a strong hold on them in the first half, and we almost let it go. That's something we have to focus on, and probably won't get a victory Monday.
I think more importantly I think there's just some lessons learned in a game like this.
We now welcome in the voice of the Saints, Jim Henderson. And look, Jim, I know people are going to talk about the comeback at the end and how crazy it was, but let me just say, this game was always crazy. When I say this game, the game to get over 500. It's been a long time, 1,386 days to be exact. But back in 2014, they played San Francisco on this field. You remember that game? Jimmy Graham caught the Hail Mary. They called offensive pass interference. 2015, they played the Tennessee Titans. That was that crazy game where they had the interception, got bobbled, and Delaney Walker scores the touchdown. They lost by 6 in overtime to the Titans. Last year, Leaper. Remember Leaper? They jump and they block the extra point, return it for 2. So I know it was crazy to watch the comeback, but they exercised some demons today by getting this victory because this game has always kind of gotten away from them, and they got the job done today.
And coming off a bye week as well. Recently, since his suspension, Sean Payton had been 2-2. They kind of got over the hump there. I dare say you saw things in this game that you've never seen before and probably will never see again to that magnitude.
Well, let's talk about what we saw, because what we were not expecting. We knew the defense has improved, but 3 defensive touchdowns, I think that was the difference in today's game.
Which the Saints had never done in the history of the franchise, had 3 defensive touchdowns. It had been since 2012 that they even had a return for a touchdown, and today they got multiple ones. I mean, touchdowns in almost back-to-back drives by defensive linemen intercepting passes. I mean, it was just totally crazy. The Saints rushing for more yards than they passed for and still winning. You know, when you came into this game, you thought, well, after the bye week, they're probably going to be a little rusty. They open up like a house of fire. The first half is nearly picture perfect. The third quarter, they go to sleep. But it was just an incredible game when it came to big plays and ebb and flow.
4 hours, almost. 3 hours and 50 minutes is what I timed out when I looked at the clock when the game had ended. What did you think happened in that midway through that third quarter? As you're calling the game, I mean, I'm sure Deuce had some insight, but it's almost like they just took their foot off the gas and was kind of hoping the clock would run out.
Well, I think, too, you look at the third down conversions. That was really the story. They went series after series after series with either a turnover, 3 and out, or penalties, forcing the 3 and outs. So I think really the offense really got lethargic in the third quarter. Primarily it's because they couldn't stay on the field, couldn't put together any kind of drives. That third quarter alone felt like it was over an hour.
It really was a long time, as was the game. But when you look at this kind of the game in its entirety now, the Saints improved to 3-2. They get over 500, as we said. All of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers looks like he might be out for the season, certainly out next game. You know, the Atlanta Falcons lose. You saw Carolina losing. All of a sudden, Jim, things are starting to look better for this team within the NFC South.
Yeah, I agree. And then, you know, this is the first of 3 straight games against the NFC North. And so today you win the first with those. You go to Green Bay, as you say, without Aaron Rodgers, a totally different team. You have some hope there because of that. And then you come home to face the Bears. So you could possibly win your next 3 as well and be on, what, a 6-game winning streak. Now that's probably pie in the sky to think about, but it certainly feels a lot better than the first time the Saints were on this field this year in the second game and got manhandled by the Patriots.
Oh, and the mindset was totally different then. I can recall talking to you how things just looked very bleak for the season. Now here we are, 3-2. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, it's been a long time since we felt like this leaving this stadium, really since 2013, where you felt like they really do have a handle on things right now.
And I think the encouraging thing is the way the defense played. You know, this is 3 straight games. The defense has played pretty well. They'd only allowed 13 points in the previous 2 together. So the way the defense is playing, the way they're getting after people, they had a damaged quarterback today. They knew that, but they had a great game plan. I don't ever recall a Saints defense tipping as many balls as they did today. And Sean Payton said afterward, you knew the ball was going to come out fast with Stafford because he can't be protected. He doesn't have a lot of downfield targets, so he's going to utilize that short passing game, and they had an answer to it by getting their hands up as quickly as they could and tipping as many balls as they did.
You're right. I think the final count was 16 batted passes at the line of scrimmage. That is absolutely incredible. Bottom line, Jim, the Saints are now 3-2.
things look good.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Certainly does. Jim, thanks.
All right, Sean.
It's going to be a fun Monday for Jim and all of us as we recap the win all day long. We've got his Black and Gold Rewind at 8 a.m., 5 p.m. with the award-winning commentary, 10:35, the Black and Gold Review Show, which will be a lot of fun tomorrow night. Make sure you get your questions into us via the Final Word feature on the FinalPlay app. We're just getting started with our Saints coverage here on the Final Play. Coming up, Chris Hagan talks turnovers and how they may have saved the day for the Saints this afternoon. And later, LSU made the right kind of history in Tiger Stadium on Saturday. A look back at how the Bayou Bengals upset 10th-ranked Auburn when the Final Play continues.
Watching the Final Play.
Winning the turnover battle usually leads to winning the game, but for the Saints, it's when they created turnovers against the Lions that allowed the Saints to walk away with their third win of the season. Here's Chris Hagan.
One of the wildest games in recent memory had an equally unpredictable start to the scoring. Alex Okafor forced a Matt Stafford fumble, recovered by fellow former Texas Longhorn and best friend Kenny Vaccaro. A moment they won't soon forget.
It was something special, man, for us to go out there and, execute the plan like that. And not only that, for, him to score and for me to help him with that, that only makes it so much sweeter.
But that play did much more than give the Saints a 7-0 lead. It set the tone for a game where the Black and Gold totaled 5 sacks, 5 turnovers, and 3 defensive touchdowns.
Anytime you score on defense, I don't know what the percentages are for winning the games, but I think it's really high when you score touchdowns. And I don't know how many we scored 2 touchdowns today. 3 touchdowns. I mean, it's 99.9% chance you're gonna win a game, especially with our offense.
Interceptions, fumbles, recoveries. This is a tremendous game by the defense. Can't speak enough about how young our defense is, but how much they love to play this game and how much they're showing to every play we're out there.
The Saints also showed their ability to execute a game plan to perfection. 12 balls batted or tipped at the line created chaos for the Lions offense all day.
We knew Matt was going to be getting rid of the ball quick. They were banged up a little bit in the offensive line, and obviously he was banged up. So when you start getting that early passing game to avoid the pressure, the guys were real good.
It's a habit when you got to realize when you can't get there, or if you're in this throwing window, get your hands up quick, man. Disengage and get your hands up quick, and we've practiced that since the beginning of the season.
Not to be overlooked today is the play of the special teams unit. 2 of the Saints' defensive touchdowns were a direct result of Thomas Morstead's punt being downed inside the 5 and the coverage team bringing down the returner at the 1. Though it wasn't a perfect day for that unit, they were responsible for 2 of the most game-changing plays. Reporting at the Dome, I'm Chris Hagan for the Final Play.
The Saints will be in Green Bay next weekend, and they may have caught a break today. Because of a break, Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers had to leave the game with a broken collarbone. It happened in the Packers' 23-10 loss to the Vikings, and it's the second time in 4 years that Rodgers has broken his collarbone. Back in 2014, he missed 7 starts because of it. Backup Brett Hundley is expected to take his place next Sunday when the Saints visit Lambeau Field.
Stating the obvious, the loss of Aaron Rodgers to injury definitely hurts. But as a football team, we have to move forward. Aaron's a great player. He's a huge part of our success in our program. But this is the state of the National Football League.
We'll talk much more about that matchup tomorrow on the Jim Henderson Black and Gold Review Show, as well as Thursday on Game Plan. Both of those air at 10:35 right here on Fox 8. And, of course, we've got you covered for high school football on Fridays as well before we get back to the Black and Gold on Sunday morning. Prior to kickoff and before the anthem, every Saints player took a knee, their way of showing unity. The team did stand for the singing of the national anthem. When we come back, we head to campus, and our first stop will be LSU because the Tigers did the unexpected in Tiger Stadium on Saturday. We've also got visits with Tulane, Southeastern, Nichols, and UL Lafayette coming your way on the Final Play.
Watching the Final Play.
Now to the unexpected coming out of Baton Rouge on Saturday. If you turned off LSU's game against Auburn in the second quarter, I understand. Ed Orgeron's team was down 20-0 and looking like they packed it in. Thankfully, they didn't. Chris Hagan takes us back to the comeback in Tiger Stadium.
If it's weathering the storm that makes you tougher, then consider the Tigers tough as nails. Maybe it's the low points, like losing at Mississippi State by 30 and losing at home to Troy, that make the high points, like upsetting a top 10 Auburn team, so much fun.
Just becoming a football team, and our whole staff is galvanized. Our football team is galvanized, and it's what we wanted to be. One team, one heartbeat. We showed it today.
After going down by 20 points, it was complimentary football that saved the day for LSU. The offense had to stay on the field long enough for the defense to rest, and once that happened, the Tigers went right back to playing the stingy type of D we're used to seeing under coordinator Dave Aranda.
They didn't take their foot off the gas. I mean, it was just all us. You know, I feel like LSU players came out there and played even harder, and you know they locked everybody down, so they went to the running game and they couldn't get no runs, so they ain't had nothing to do. And I just give praise to my teammates for that.
We might bend, but we never break. This team is resilient. We work our tails off throughout the week to make sure we prepare. And the guys we out there, I know I wouldn't go to war with anyone else. They fight their tails off day in and day out.
When I asked quarterback Danny Etling after the game what this team's identity was, he said they're still working on that a bit, but at the very least, it's become very clear that this LSU team will not be outworked.
Obviously, that's an exhausting way to do things, but you know, you're in SEC play now, so every win is tough, every win is gritty, and that's something that I think our team's going to pride ourselves on, and that's going to be our identity.
Coach Orgeron says it was those ugly 3- or 4-yard runs from Darius Geis that set the tone for how physical LSU football still is. But under offensive coordinator Matt Canada, this team's capitalized a little more on athleticism and using it to make big plays. You can't say enough about how much Russell Gage and DJ Chark have done for this team, from offense to special teams and everywhere in between.
He was making great plays, as you saw with the punt return. You know, DJ was all over the field tonight, and so was Russell, and we were able to make some plays in the passing game when we needed them, and that was big.
And just like that, LSU has a winning streak again, an SEC winning streak. But what's most important for the Tigers is that they've started to learn and believe in themselves, because again, it's those tough times that tend to make you stronger.
We knew that we were going to win this game from Monday. We didn't have to harp on each other and yell at each other. We're in a situation now where we just say, hey, we good, keep playing. You know, we know what our offense capable of, and we know what our defense capable of, and it clicked together.
Reporting on the Tigers, I'm Chris Hagan for the Final Play.
This week's AP poll has a couple of SEC schools in the top 5. In fact, in the top 3, led by Alabama, they're still there after all this season. They're 7-0. The Georgia Bulldogs are up to number 3. They're sandwiched around Penn State, who's now at number 2. TCU, Wisconsin, Ohio State are 4 through 6. LSU's back in the top 25 after that win over Auburn. They're at number 24. Tulane's next opponent, South Florida, they're 16. Auburn falls 11 spots to 21st. And the Greenies' opponent in 2 weeks, Memphis, they jump in the poll at number 25. Back to Baton Rouge for a second, and maybe the credit for the Tigers' second-half comeback should go to the 2017. LSU honored that championship-winning team at halftime. Former head coach Les Miles getting a huge applause, in part because he was showing off the national championship hardware.
Being around the guys again, that's what I miss the most is just being around everybody. We got such a special group, and this weekend has really just solidified that memory in my mind. It's just what a group of guys and a team that I was able to celebrate that with and just go through that whole emotional roller coaster of that year.
Just when we start sipping on that green Kool-Aid, Tulane reverts back to its old ways. The Greenies carried a 2-game win streak and a ton of confidence into Miami and laid an egg against Florida International. Their offense lacked balance. 203 yards rushing, just 36 yards passing, and they struggled on third down, just 2 of 11. 23-10 was the final score, and now they'll turn the page to nationally ranked South Florida coming into Yeoman Stadium next weekend. Down in the Bayou, Nicholls State rode the hot leg of Lauren Fonseca to a win over Abilene Christian. Fonseca booted 5 field goals in the Colonels' 29-20 win. Nicholls also got 130 yards rushing and a touchdown from Dontrell Taylor. As the Colonels improved their Southland record, they're now 4-1 in the conference and 5-2 overall. And don't look now, but Southeastern's win streak is now 4 games, and a theme has developed in those 4 wins. They've scored at least 49 points in each one, including 56 last night in their 56-10 win over Houston Baptist. The Lions offense racked up over 500 total yards, including a season-high 376 on the ground. And we want to take you back to last Thursday to highlight a local kid lighting up the scoreboard up in Lafayette. ULL's Trey Regas got into the end zone twice, and the Cajuns went over Texas State. Regas, who prepped at Shaw, was the Cajuns' workhorse, carrying the rock 19 times for 75 yards and 2 scores in ULL's 24-7 win. Coming up, we put a cap on Week 7 of the high school football season. And we'll get you ready for the Pelicans season opener, which tips off in just 3 days.
Watching the Final Play.
Our catch of the week came in today's Saints-Detroit Lions game, and Cam Jordan showing up and showing out with this tip drill pick 6 of Matthew Stafford. Gets the paw to it, bats it into the air, comes down with it in the end zone. It's his first career touchdown, and it was the Saints' 12th batted ball on the afternoon. Oh, and it's our catch of the week as well. Congratulations, Cam. Our high school play of the week comes from the Landry Walker-John Eric game. Patriots quarterback Travis Mumphrey intercepted by Tywan Francis, and he puts together a nice return. Refuses to go down, bounces off the would-be tacklers to take it to the house. Landry Walker shut out Eric with plays just like that. 30-0 your final. And here are our Player of the Week nominees. First up, Warren Easton cornerback Jamal Sam. 2 picks, both returned for touchdowns. 24 and 94-yard pick 6s against McMain. Lakeshore running back Joshua Hayes ran for 4 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions. And over at Country Day, Buckner Hebe, the running back, had 5 scores on his own. Voting runs each week from Monday to Wednesday at fox8live.com/player. If you want more prep coverage, you can head to our app where we have highlights from Friday night, the latest recruiting news, and of course, those weekly power rankings. The NBA will take center stage this week as the season tips off, which means it's finally game week for these guys, the Pelicans. An uninspiring 4-game preseason is finally over. And the Pels will tip off the season in the same place that they ended the preseason, in Memphis. Alvin Gentry's team will have quite the test to open the season. They'll play 4 of their first 5 games on the road. Again, starting in Memphis Wednesday night, 2 days after that, they'll open the home schedule against the defending champion Golden State Warriors. And then it's 3 straight out west, beginning with the Lakers a week from tonight. They'll also play in Portland and Sacramento as well. And that's our show for tonight. For all of us here at Fox 8, I'm Juan Kincaid. We hope you'll join us again next Sunday night for the Final Play.
From Fox 8 Sports, this has been the Final Play.